You talk about that yellow bus, or we talk about that bus, right? That bus was on the flat. Remember, that same team blew a 3-1 lead to LeBron James. That same team was 73-9, okay, and they lost in the NBA Finals. And to be honest with you, if Kevin Durant don't go to Golden State, do they win 2 more championships? That's the question you have to ask yourself. Can they overcome LeBron James? I don't believe so. I believe they went and got Kevin Durant because they knew they needed Kevin Durant to get past LeBron James. So, yes, he was driving the bus because he won 2 Finals MVPs when he was in Golden State. That's why we see Golden State right now when we saw Steph Curry and them when they won the championship this year against the Celtics in Game 6, we saw the emotions. We saw them have that certain type of feeling, especially Steph Curry, because now he could say, actually, this was mine. I actually led this team, and this is why we won. So, I mean, we could talk about the bus having a full tank of gas, but I saw the bus needing a tow truck.
That's fair, but Big Perk, there's no obvious reason to relitigate all of these things that happened like 6 or 7 years ago. But they're not the only team that blew a big lead and a big opportunity, right? Kevin Durant's Oklahoma City Thunder had Golden State dead to rights the year before that and couldn't get it done in their own building in Game 6. And then he went and left. These are things that actually happened, and they go on the permanent record of the people who decide to do them. And it doesn't in any way diminish how great a player he is, but it does sort of factor into the legacy conversation, doesn't it, Perk?
Yeah, but Greeny, we acting like the Golden State Warriors didn't meet Kevin Durant at the Hamptons and was over there having private meetings with him, asking him to come.
Right.
Like, he didn't just say, oh, I'm going to just go join the Golden State Warriors. They actually asked him. They actually was sitting down in meetings with him and dinner for hours at the Hamptons, asking him to join the team.
That's fair. So here's, CJ, I'm going to make an admission right now on the air. I've lost track of what we're arguing about, which is, I can tell that Perk and I disagree, but I'm not 1,000% sure what we're disagreeing about. At the end of the day, Kevin Durant's legacy as one of the best players that ever lived is set in stone, written in ink. No one is debating it. But he's trying to walk into a room that a very, very select few people are in, like 10 people on the whole history of the game. And winning a championship somewhere outside of Golden State, in my opinion, as one whose job it is to chronicle this stuff, would go a long way towards doing that. Does that make sense?
No, when you phrase it like that,
yes,
it makes sense. But I think whenever someone starts off saying, with all due respect, like Charles said, they begin to say something very, very disrespectful.
Right.
So
that's right.
That's how I take it every time. So I say this with all respect.
Yeah.
I'm going to repeat the beginning of your sentence. His legacy is set in stone, regardless of what happens going forward.
Right.
However, winning a championship by himself, a la Steph Curry this season, will change the minds of the old heads.
But that's exactly right. You are on the side of, and these are just debates, no one is by definition right or wrong. I believe that winning the championship that he won last Thursday elevated Steph. It took him from where he was, which was already an all-time great, to another place. It put him in a different place. And I think we can say the same thing about Durant. Tim Legler, go ahead, put a ribbon on all this for me. Go.
Yeah, listen, I think we're all in agreement on this. Right? Kevin Durant is one of the greatest players to ever live. I think we're just basically having maybe a little bit different take on what weight does that carry, the significance of the championships that Kevin Durant won when you compare it to what other great players have done in this generation, right? His peers. And that's what we're talking about here. Nobody's disputing how great Kevin Durant is. And look, Perk said, you know, he doesn't think they get by the Cleveland Cavaliers if Kevin Durant doesn't make that move. Well, unfortunately, we're never going to know that. They may have won 2 more championships and Kevin Durant never went there. We're just never going to know that. But we do know they absolutely did win before he arrived. So he went to a team that had won one. They had blown a 3-1 lead in the finals. That, to me, sounds like a team that's ready-made to win and had already actually done it. He went there and made them unbeatable. That's what Kevin Durant did for those 2 years. And again, he was the best player on those teams, in my opinion. But it was something that he joined that was already equipped to get the job done because they had already proven that they could. And as a result, Kevin Durant might not get the same credit that some other guys have done as the guy that like was the focal point of an organization. Other guys came to them, joined that team. It's different when you go join a team that good. It just is the way it's going to be viewed historically.
Go ahead, Perk. Put a final word on it.
Legs, I agree with you, and I think we all agree, and like y'all said, but at the end of the day, we do remember Draymond was in the parking lot on the phone in his car calling Kevin Durant. This is the part that we're missing. So they knew right then that they needed KD to come to Golden State to get past this. This is not something I'm making up. This is why I said they recruited him.
Okay, so let's leave it there for the moment. That's true, and every team in the league would like Kevin Durant, but that's neither here nor there. Let's leave it for the moment. Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.